In July 2022, WWE entered one of its most transformative eras when Triple H officially took control after Vince McMahon's departure. Since then, the product has completely changed both creatively and from a business standpoint. From streamlining shows to removing long-standing bans, Triple H redefined the entire playbook. Let's look at the key changes he made and why they mattered. There was a time in WWE when certain moves were completely banned, whether for safety reasons, past controversies, or simply Vince's personal preferences. Moves like the pile driver and even simple apron bumps were taken off the table. Under Triple H's leadership, however, there's been a clear return of high-impact, crowd-popping moves that had been gone for years. The pile driver is one of the biggest examples. It was banned after a botched attempt left Stone Cold Steve Austin temporarily paralyzed in 1997. It was only rarely used by exceptions like The Undertaker's tombstone. But recently, a modified version of the pile driver has returned to WWE, with Kevin Owens notably using it. This doesn't mean WWE has become careless. It shows Triple H's trust in his talent. He understands that today's wrestlers are more skilled and better trained than ever, so with proper execution and medical clearance, he allows these visually impressive moves back into the mix. This shift was clear when Cody Rhodes used the Vertebreaker during his match with Logan Paul at Crown Jewel 2024, a move once considered far too risky because it drops the opponent headfirst. Meanwhile, Sami Zayn shocked fans at WrestleMania by hitting Gunther with the Turnbuckle Brainbuster. For years, he had been using a safer version on the apron to follow company rules, but now the original and more brutal version was finally back. Triple H also brought a major change to long-term storytelling. One of the biggest complaints under Vince's creative direction was the lack of consistent and logical plots. Feuds often started and ended within a month. Characters switched from heel to babyface with no build, and nothing felt earned. Under Triple H, the focus shifted to long-term payoffs. The Bloodline storyline is a perfect example. While it started under Vince, it was Triple H's dedication to slow, layered storytelling that took it to new heights. Sami Zayn's alliance and betrayal, Jey Uso's inner conflict, and Roman Reigns' crumbling empire were all carefully crafted to keep fans emotionally invested. This patient storytelling was once sacrificed for quick reactions, but not anymore. Whether it was Drew McIntyre's planned heel turn, Cody Rhodes' journey to finish the story, or Liv Morgan's unhinged rise to the top, everything now feels like it's leading to a major moment. Another big but subtle change under Triple H was the tone of commentary. While it might seem small, the effect has been huge. For years, WWE commentary was criticized for being overproduced and robotic. Michael Cole, often seen as the voice of WWE, was accused of sounding detached because Vince McMahon was feeding him lines and corrections live during every show. Once Triple H took over, everything changed. Michael Cole's transformation was almost instant. Freed from the constant voice in his headset, his commentary became more natural, insightful, and engaging. Fans began to appreciate his decades of experience and passion, which had long been hidden under Vince's strict control. The commentary team dynamic also improved. Wade Barrett and Joe Tessitore found their rhythm because they were no longer being micromanaged and could react organically to what was happening in the ring. This relaxed tone keeps the audience connected instead of distracting them with forced lines or unnatural catchphrases. As commentary found its flow, WWE's global presence shifted into a higher gear. For years, WWE's biggest shows rarely left the United States because Vince McMahon treated international events as occasional spectacles rather than key parts of the company's calendar. Despite having a huge and passionate fan base around the world, from the UK to Australia to South Asia, WWE under Vince mainly focused on domestic programming, except for the lucrative Saudi Arabia shows. Under Triple H, that completely changed. He recognized the value of giving international fans high-stakes, canon-integrated events they had been waiting for. Instead of treating non-US audiences as an afterthought, WWE started holding major premium live events across the globe. From Clash at the Castle in Cardiff to Elimination Chamber in Montreal, Backlash in Puerto Rico, and later shows in France. These events didn't just grab local media attention, they became essential chapters in WWE's ongoing storylines. They delivered deafening crowds and raw passion that you rarely see in the United States. And this global resurgence became one of the most successful shifts of the Triple H era. Along with the international momentum came a much-needed overhaul in how WWE structured its premium live events. There was a time when WWE's pay-per-views dragged on endlessly. WrestleMania 35 is the most infamous example, running over 7 hours and leaving fans completely drained by the main event. To this day, it holds the record as WWE's longest show ever. Even the monthly pay-per-views followed the same formula: overload the card, stretch the runtime, and hope something stuck. By the time the main event arrived, even the most passionate fans were too exhausted to react, not because they didn't care, but because they had been worn out. Triple H completely flipped that approach. Today, WWE's premium live events usually feature no more than 5 matches, all of which are well-built and feel meaningful. The pacing is sharper and nearly every match earns its place on the card. Some fans still complain about shorter match lists or faster endings, but they are a vocal minority. Most fans prefer the tighter, more focused shows where quality takes priority over quantity. Shorter doesn't mean less impactful, it means smarter. Another long-standing frustration that faded under Triple H's creative leadership was the constant and often bizarre name changes that plagued WWE talent for years. Under Vince McMahon, it became almost a running joke that as soon as a wrestler gained traction, their name would suddenly be shortened or changed. Matt Riddle became just Riddle, Austin Theory was known as Theory, and Biggie Langston was simply Big E. Sometimes it was for branding reasons, other times for trademarks, and occasionally for no clear reason at all. It often felt confusing and even disrespectful. Triple H clearly recognized that names carry meaning, so he quietly reversed many of these changes. Matt Riddle and Austin Theory got their full names back, and it wasn't hyped or turned into a storyline. It just happened, and fans immediately appreciated it. Beyond the name changes, WWE also operated for years under a strange set of restrictions, many coming directly from Vince himself. Words like wrestling, belts, and even hospital were banned. Despite being called World Wrestling Entertainment, talent had to refer to themselves as sports entertainers instead of wrestlers. Titles weren't belts, and injured performers weren't taken to a hospital, they were sent to a local medical facility. The reasoning behind these restrictions, according to various reports, was mostly about presentation. Vince believed certain words sounded outdated or wouldn't appeal to mainstream media partners. In particular, the word wrestling was considered too niche, while sports entertainment sounded more marketable. Another strange rule was the ban on saying hospital. Dave Meltzer once explained that Vince feared fans might call real hospitals looking for updates on injured superstars, which sounded unnecessary and extreme. In 2024, Luke Gallows revealed that wrestlers are now officially allowed to call themselves WWE wrestlers instead of sports entertainers, signaling a major shift in philosophy. This change also marked a bigger shift in WWE's stance on kayfabe, the long-standing tradition of keeping wrestling's scripted nature a secret. While most fans have known for years that WWE is a choreographed form of entertainment, Vince always went to great lengths to protect the illusion. Even terms like heel and babyface were forbidden for decades. That rule is now gone. The company regularly holds post-show press conferences where wrestlers and executives openly discuss creative decisions and storyline direction. Words like heel and babyface are even used during live promos without hesitation. Perhaps the boldest move yet is WWE's partnership with Netflix to create WWE Unreal, a behind-the-scenes docuseries set to debut in 2025. The series promises to take fans inside the writer's room and reveal how stories are crafted both in and out of the ring. Such transparency would have been unthinkable under Vince, but today's fans seem to love it. While some old-school traditionalists may not approve, the overall reaction suggests that this honesty is exactly what modern audiences want. This same respect for fans and the craft has led to the long-overdue revival of WWE's mid-card and tag team divisions. For years, the Intercontinental and United States Championships were creatively neglected. Even when major stars like Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and Bobby Lashley held them, the reigns rarely felt important. These titles were often relegated to kickoff shows and treated like afterthoughts. That changed completely when Gunther won the Intercontinental Championship in June 2022. At first, many expected just another routine reign, but the ring general shattered all expectations. Under Triple H's leadership, Gunther's reign lasted 666 days, the longest in the title's history, and every defense felt like a hard-hitting war. His match against Sheamus at Clash at the Castle was a show-stealing classic and marked the first time in over 2 years that the Intercontinental Championship was defended on a premium live event. That match alone reminded fans what the title could truly represent. And it wasn't just the mid-card division making a comeback, tag team wrestling experienced a renaissance of its own under Triple H. For the first time in WrestleMania history, the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championship main evented Night 1 of WrestleMania 39 as Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn dethroned the Usos in an emotional, story-driven battle. This showed that Triple H ensures even wrestlers outside of world title feuds are given meaningful storylines and screen time. Whether it was the chaos of Braun Strowman versus Bronson Reed, the eerie rise of the Wyatt Six, or the shocking implosion of the New Day, mid-card storytelling now thrives even if it doesn't always lead to premium live event matches. Another major shift has been WWE's willingness to open the forbidden door. In 2022, fans were stunned when Mickie James, then the reigning Impact Knockouts champion, entered the Women's Royal Rumble while still under TNA contract, with WWE even acknowledging her title live on TV 2 years later. Jordynne Grace also entered the Rumble to a shocked crowd. Since then, the walls separating WWE from the rest of the wrestling world have started to crumble. In January 2025, WWE and TNA officially announced a multi-year partnership, a historic moment considering their long-standing rivalry. This collaboration has already paid off, with TNA's Joe Hendry becoming one of the most talked-about names in NXT. WWE has also allowed its wrestlers to compete outside the company under special circumstances, such as Shinsuke Nakamura's match against the Great Muta in 2023. This is a huge shift from the days when WWE operated in its own bubble and crossovers were unthinkable. To be clear, this doesn't mean WWE is heading toward full-scale interpromotional chaos. A working relationship with the EW still seems unlikely given the rocky relationship between WWE and Tony Khan. Even so, WWE's growing openness to outside talent represents a major philosophical change from the era when it existed in its own echo chamber. And none of this would be possible without a stronger backstage atmosphere. In the past, WWE's locker room was often tense, plagued by creative frustration and constant uncertainty. Now the tone has shifted completely. Former WWE analyst Matt Camp explained on Busted, "Open that there are hours to the day now, meaning talent and staff are no longer forced to sit around for 5 or 6 hours waiting for Vince or receiving middle-of-the-night calls." Randy Orton echoed this sentiment, reflecting that in the past you would miss birthdays, anniversaries, and holidays and never dare to ask for time off. Now Triple H makes sure wrestlers can get home for the birth of a child or important family moments, recognizing how valuable that is. Even The Undertaker has spoken about this cultural shift, noting that in the old days if the boss was stressed, everyone was stressed. But now there's trust in the system and a positive energy that lifts the entire team. This new culture is also reflected in how WWE presents its product on screen. After Vince McMahon stepped away for good, his longtime production chief, Kevin Dunn, followed suit in early 2024.